Hi everyone! Today's video is just basically a follow-up video from the one that I did with Gracie, just back to school advice, tips and tricks for your child, but also for parents and guardians because let's face it, it's not easy for us either. The first thing that I would suggest is, since it's the week before school right now, call the school and see if you can come in for a visit. Sometimes the kids just need to see where they're going to be, even if they've been to school for the last 7 years at the same school. It's a good idea to just go in, see their new classroom, where they might be sitting. That was a big one too. We would even talk to the teacher about little things like that because to Gracie they were huge. The other suggestion I would make is to start role playing. So some ideas for role play would be, meeting somebody for the first time, introducing yourself to your teacher, not winning the prize. A lot of kids on Fridays will play bingo and they don't win a prize, and it's pretty devastating. In gym class too, that's a tough one. The noises are louder, it echoes a little bit more, there's kids running around, it can be pretty chaotic. So maybe we'll do another video just on gym class because that can be a pretty tricky one. But definitely losing at sports is a big one, especially as our kids are younger. It's just hard. So 100%, play games, and the goal is to lose. That's what we used to do that quite often. Play some games, and whoever lost was the winner in a sense. If your child is verbal, especially, it's so important to talk to your kids. I just find that we sometimes think that we know what's best for them and we just go for it, and we're so big on advocating for our kids that we're the ones that do all the talking, when really they have so much insight to give us. So ask them, what is it that scares you? What are you nervous about? What are your fears? What are your worries? And then maybe role play some of those situations, come up with some possible scenarios, the worst case scenario. And what's the best case scenario? Just around the dinner table, practice putting up your hand if you want to speak and make a game of it. It seems kind of silly to be sitting around the dinner table with people, or, even play school. Playing school is a big one. It doesn't really matter how old your kids are. Honestly, I think if I asked Gracie to play school with me now, she'd think that was a little silly, but she'd be all for it. So just, role play as many scenarios as you possibly can. Come up with some strategies together. Ask your kids, what do you think would help you? And if they're nonverbal and you're just not sure, then 100% talk amongst your family and the team. Don't forget, you've got a whole support system there, especially their EAs. If they've been in school for a while, their EAs know them really well, and what triggers them and what's the most challenging and what works sometimes. If you're older, and in high school and meeting your teacher for the first time, because in high school you're going to have 4 different teachers plus your EAs, I would recommend having an about card. It's just a little card that says who you are, how you learn, the best strategies for you to be successful, and maybe even things that trigger you as well. I've also had kids put their schedule inside their binder, and even reminders inside of there, so the other kids in the class can't see. It's all in the binder. You might have some strategies on how to stay calm, just a list written in there, and then nobody can see it, but it's a good reminder for you, a good visual, even a picture of something to be calm. The other thing that I would suggest is maybe some social stories, especially if your child is very visual. We've taken pictures of Gracie, actually. We've gone to the school ahead of time, and if you can do that this week, that'd be great. Go to the school, take pictures of her near her locker or their coat hook if they're in elementary school. Take pictures of the hallway, the classrooms, the gym, the library, especially if you're new to school. If you're going into kindergarten, going into grade 9, that's always a good thing. And I know that if you're going to high school, you can ask for a map. They usually have a map of the layout of the school, so they could at least see that. I mean, for me, that would be pretty tricky. I think if I saw a map, I still have no idea where I'm going, but some of our kiddos it works well for, and you can just highlight what classrooms they might be in. And keep in mind, things change all the time. When Gracie first started, I think it was even in grade 9, they changed a class for her, and she lost it. So what we've asked is that, if there are going to be any changes, they don't make them that day for her at school. They just keep things as is, email me or call and let us know that the change will be happening the next day, and then we just have to prepare for that, and that's fine. So, you know, it'll be trial and error for a little bit, because you know, some things happen that you just don't expect to happen. So you just learn from them, right? So I have a few books that I would recommend. If your child is still learning about feelings, like there's so many of them, especially as they get older, there's jealousy and frustration and the whole bit. These books here, it's the Feelings book from American Girl, The Care and Keeping of Your Emotions. Now I will say that this one is very wordy, a little bit too hard for Grace to understand, so I tried to break it down. It wasn't my favorite to break down, just because it is so wordy. I mean, you know, but there are lots of pictures too. But it comes with a journal that goes along with it. I did have to buy these separately, but it's called the Feelings Journal, the Feelings Book Journal from American Girl, and it's got they just go over all the different feelings that they might have. It's called Mood Minder, and it says I've been dissed, dealing with disrespect, feeling jealous, you know, and they can mark, I don't know if you can see that, they can mark down, you know, where in their body they feel these feelings physically as well. So if you want to get just one, I would recommend the journal for sure. And here, middle school stuff. The stuff nobody tells you about. It's written, it just says here, a teenage girl with high functioning autism shares her experiences, by Haley Moss. This is a really great book. It is for middle school, like going into grades 7 and 8, but the information is the exact same that you would give for going into high school. So what to expect on the first day. They talk about lockers, you know, sounds and crowds trying to get to your locker, and she's got some strategies, and then other kids on the spectrum will talk about what worked for them, and you know, what they like, dislike, all that sort of thing, fire alarms, even slang. There's a whole list in this book of slang words that I'm sure are out of date right now, but the idea is good. So if you've got other siblings or know of any teenagers that you can give the slang and kind of explain what those words mean, that would be good. I saw a girl quite a few years ago. Her name was Roz, at the Geneva Center conference in Toronto, and she was incredible. But one of the things that really stuck with me was she said, the more common sense it is to you, the more you need to teach it to us. She said, we just don't get those common sense things, those everyday things that you pick up, those subtle cues that you pick up to just learn. And the more natural it is to you, the more you need to teach us. So that's something that I've never forgotten. And there's a lot of great points in here about, these are all basic things that we would just know when we went to school, but our kiddos struggle with. So I really like that one. The last resource for school, but you actually do at home, are these books here. It's What to Do When Your Brain Gets Stuck. That's a guide for overcoming OCD. What to Do When You Grumble Too Much. That's a kid's guide to overcoming negativity. And What to Do When Your Temper Flares. These are all by Don Huebner. And it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy for kids. And what I love about this is you just work on one chapter a night, and it's so visual, and there are activities that the kids can do, and it's just basically drawing things. There's also one, What to Do When You Dread Your Bed. Worked like a charm for us. Made a huge difference. So 100% I would recommend these books if you are struggling with anything like that. And I do have, I think there's one for anxiety too. Yes, What to Do When You Worry Too Much is the one for anxiety. And that one was a big help for us as well. So I'll put a link to these books. You can get them on Amazon. I don't think any of these are too pricey. But it's something to look into anyways if you can. Anyway, that's it for today. I have so much more to share with you, but it just is too long, and I know your time is precious. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.